It matters to have clear objectives, as if you don't set out with the end in mind, it's difficult to get where you want to go. Most companies have set some sort of corporate objective in terms of carbon reduction or sustainability, and not every organisation has made the connection between the high-level corporate ambition, and connecting those two things is not always straightforward.
Having a clear strategy for electrification success is very important because, as you do with most things, the 80-20 rule applies. It's very easy to do the first 80%, but the last 20 is very, very difficult and often very costly.
Most common mistakes that companies make when planning a transition to EV is to not think through all of the different aspects. It's quite a complex thing. It touches on lots of different parts of the business operation and lots of different responsibilities. So it's not just a fleet question, it's also a question of access to energy and power.
At the moment, you have a lot of fleet managers. They understand diesel, but they don't understand the implications of energy. So those people, they need to upskill and start understanding where the energy comes from and where there could be benefits. Rather than just buying electricity, you could buy it at different times of the day, you could install renewables.
Deployment for commercial fleets and vehicles is inherently complex for a number of reasons. One is greater energy demands, greater or larger energy batteries. Charger types, vehicle types can be different, so between AC, DC chargers, different bus OEMs, and so you may have interoperability challenges as well. The shortcomings often are around inadequate grid integration, so particularly for high-powered chargers. Interoperability challenges, so not having the correct coordination or interoperability between the chargers, the software, and the vehicles themselves. Fragmented vendor management, so again, having procured separate packages for hardware, software, vehicles, installation partners, etc., can also contribute towards the complexity and the challenges for deployments.
The depots of the past had always been simple buildings where you have a small energy connection. Today, as we move into the future, if they're electrified, then there will be much larger energy requirements. Now you have to charge 5, 10, 100 vehicles. So how do you get the energy into that site? And as we know, the grid is constrained. In some places, it is very difficult to get a larger connection, and here's where we can help.
So underestimating the amount of day-to-day work changes that the depot team will need to go through in order to implement this effectively. So managing the ecosystem, managing the technology, and optimizing all components of that ecosystem to ensure that your vehicles are not only ready, but you're also ready to make any savings from using that infrastructure and the technology together. Technology is essential for smart charging orchestration, balancing load and energy across your commercial fleet. Secondly, real-time fleet and charger monitoring to ensure charger uptime for the next day's operations.
For operators, this is a whole new world for them, so they might have new vehicles, they've got new charging systems, they might have new software. And so the first big challenge is how does it all work together, and crucially, how does it work reliably? For our types of customers, it's about rock solid reliability 24/7, and that's the number one priority for us, to make sure that everything seamless, no downtime, and just as far as possible business as usual. The interesting thing about EV batteries is that as an industry, we don't have a lot of experience today in terms of how they operate. Say diesel engines, we know when they're not working properly, whereas for something like an EV, we don't. But if you operate it incorrectly, you might accelerate its degradation by maybe 10, even 15% of its lifetime. So there's a lot of different things that we can do in terms of maximizing the value of EV batteries. From an operational perspective, it's about monitoring, it's about making sure that they're operating effectively reliably. From a maintenance perspective, they're well looked after. But then from a control perspective, we can start to say, how are they being operated? Are they being operated efficiently so that we can extend their lifetime? That means ultimately that they've got a more financial value. Once the battery's finished its first life, if we know how it's been used, where it's been, then we can start to sell it into second applications, different vehicles, new storage systems, even for recycling. And again, because we've got that full audit of the battery, then we can maximize its value.
I think businesses should look at electrification as an opportunity, not just an obligation, because there are huge amounts of opportunities from a cost perspective. There's a digital transformation that happens as a result of electrification to the depot actually becoming a valuable asset because it's got charging infrastructure which other parties can use, but also you've got the opportunity for storage and for trading your energy. So what we see is people and organisations moving from being a fleet operation to a fleet and energy business. Sure, there are challenges, but it's worth the effort to get over those challenges. And clearly when you've got an organisation like Hitachi working alongside you, we can reduce the pain of those challenges and make those opportunities even larger.
How Hitachi comes into play is we help with understanding where the energy comes from, where the benefits are, where the opportunities lie, and we can do that through an opportunities identification funnel. We have experience end to end.
We work in partnership with organisations, and it's all really about building trust with the operators and indeed all the stakeholders across the organisation to really understand the business challenges and then make sure that the services and tools that we provide help solve those challenges.
Hitachi is quite unique in our approach to supporting fleets in their journey to electric. Because we're hardware agnostic, we can provide a completely unbiased advice on how to plan the right infrastructure to use to support fleet electrification, and particularly how to then optimize that infrastructure for the best use of the fleet.
The message I'd give to leaders hesitant to move forward is don't be hesitant, embrace the change. I think there is a big opportunity. We understand that there's actually a huge people change issue here, not just changing one vehicle to another, but actually getting organisations and people to adopt that technology in a way that is optimal and the way that's actually going to improve their services. Look at the market. There are really good organisations out there like Hitachi Zero Carbon that understand what it takes to electrify. This is an opportunity for total transformation of your fleet. Go step by step, be cautious, be careful, but think forward. Think about not just the transformation, think about how a new business as usual will deliver greater benefits to your organisation in the long term. And that's an opportunity for forward-thinking fleet operators and fleet managers and directors to go, I want to play a bigger part in the success of my business going forward, and electrification provides me with that opportunity.
I think it's a really exciting time for the transformation and the move to zero carbon. There's a vast amount of energy consumption in transport today. As we move to a renewable future and an optimised future from the point of view of energy, we're able to really accelerate the decarbonisation. We're able to do that with using new technology and really make a real impact to society.